What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily recap. You can expect these recaps every day through this entire year, just as you got them last year. Now, we're going to go over my trades from this morning. We're going to look at the condition of the overall market. I sat down this morning just before 7 a.m., and my focus was to try to figure out which stock today is going to be the most obvious. That was pretty easy because we already had a stock up over 150%. It was a Chinese stock moving up on the Chinese AI news that came out over the weekend. So the launch of this DeepSeek open source AI platform that actually resulted in NVIDIA, Google, Meta, the NASDAQ at large dropping down because it kind of threw into question whether or not the US with OpenAI is really the leader in this space, or if maybe China's going to take the top spot. So anyways, for that reason, I was definitely focused on this one stock. Now, this one stock is not by any means the owner or creator of this AI platform, DeepSeek. They're just a Chinese company, Aurora Limited, that is using DeepSeek. Basically, that they're using it in their platform. So I'll pull up the headline, the exact headline. So it's kind of probably a little exaggerated for the stock to go up this much on it, but so integrates DeepSeek RM1 or R1 LLM, expanding its enterprise AI agent capabilities. Okay, so it's a chatbot, basically, right? So the stock goes up 200%. So for that reason, I was a little bit like, how much is this really going to go up? Nonetheless, coming into 7 a.m., I was watching it because it was the leading gainer in the entire market. And so I had the 5-minute chart looking basically like this coming into 7 a.m. And I was like, okay, so wow, big move from $8 all the way up to 20. All right, let's check the daily chart. So I pull up the daily chart, I back it up. I could see, all right, all-time high on this up around 28, but they had a reverse split back here. We're off the lows. But all of this back here is very light volume. So there's no question that today is going to have substantially higher volume than any of those trading days, which is going to make it easy for us to potentially break through those levels. So then at that point, I'm looking at the 1-minute chart, and we'll back this up here to the 1 minute. And coming right into 7 a.m., I saw it starting to spike. And so as it started to spike right here, up from 14 to 15 to 16 to 17, I was like, wow, this thing can definitely move. What's my target? Pre-market high right here. So right at 7 a.m., I jumped in, and I bought at 1,500 shares at $17.85. So that would have been kind of like right in this candle right here. So got in right here and added to, let's see, 4,500 shares, then added to 6,000, and then added to a 10,000 share position, and it squeezes all the way up from 1785 to 18, 19, all the way to 20. Boom, took my profit. So on that first trade, I averaged about 70 cents per share on 10,000 shares, which was about $7,500 of profit. Now, $7,500 of profit is a good trade. 10,000 shares at $18.50 is $180 $1,000 position. It's not a small position dollar size wise, but it's about a 5% return on that trade in like 2 minutes. So I'm totally okay with that, and I wouldn't say that I was risking 185,000 because my stop, of course, would be as it comes back down around 1750. So in at 1785 with my starter, stop at 1750, 35-cent stop, and then as I'm adding, I'm moving my mental stop up closer. Of course, during pre-market trading, stops are mental. You don't have live stop orders. Now, those of you guys doing the 2-week trial, by the way, when I'm broadcasting, when I'm streaming, this is illuminated. It says live right here, and you can click on it and you can open up my screen share. So that's how you can actually watch my broadcast while I'm streaming. If I was streaming, this would say on air, or it would say live instead of off air. So just FYI on that. So anyways, so this pulls back right here, and I got back in. So I got back in for first 1-minute candle to make a new high, and that was in at about, what was it? Let's see, I got in that at 1937, 1950. So got back in right in this area, first candle to make a new high, and it goes up to 21, and that's another $7,000. So boom, up $15,557.92 on JG, and I did that all of that was done by 7:05 a.m. So basically $15,000 in 5 minutes. Wow. All right. Now, it's easy to say $15,000 in 5 minutes is, certainly that's nice. But as we know, it takes years of experience to get to the level of confidence to take the type of positions to be able to make that kind of money. So anyway, so then it pulls back here, drops back down, comes back up, drops back down. And we go into this sort of longer period of sideways consolidation. Right here, I was watching it, and it pops up, and then in this candle, it dumps all the way back down. That candle, for me, was a big red flag, because in that candle, it dropped $2 a share in about less than a minute. So I was like, okay, yikes. I got to be careful on this. It ends up pulling back more. It bounces again. Nice bounce. Pulls back more. Another nice bounce. So it was giving nice bounces, but I just didn't want to push my luck on it. And at this point, after this rejection candle, I just felt like this was all the backside of the move. So I didn't go back for it. But that's okay. I had a couple other stocks I traded. So MLGO was the next one I traded. And this one, it's a thickly traded stock. It's a Chinese stock. And I think that, for me, the main issue is just that it's very thickly traded. And what I mean by that is you have huge buyers and huge sellers. And so there was a point where we had a 300,000 share seller on the ask. And I was like, man, this thing, it's not going to move. I mean, you're going to need so many buyers to move this thing even 5 cents. It's going to grind. And that's basically all it did. But I did finally take a trade on it. So it squeezes up here, it pulls back, it pops up, pulls back. And I got in, it was right here. I got in right here on this candle, and I was looking for the immediate break through this level. But as you could see, it didn't really give me that. It popped up. I made $1,000 on it, but it didn't squeeze through the highs. So I didn't get a really nice trade on it, unfortunately. So I was a little disappointed with that, but it is what it is. I mean, you just it's just too thickly traded. It didn't have a standalone catalyst. It was just too risky. Speaking of no standalone catalyst, YIBO right now is up 177% with no standalone catalyst. This one, I had to pull myself away from the computer because I was like, I can't trade it up here. It's got no news. It's a Chinese stock. It doesn't make sense. And I don't want to try to be, like, this is the thing. Sometimes a short seller will be like, it doesn't make sense, so I'm going to keep adding. I'm going to keep adding. And the stock keeps going higher. So this right here is a micro pullback under 650. But I just couldn't help but feel like it didn't make sense. And I just didn't want to get back the profit. Because the fact is today, I had 2 good trades and they were at 7 a.m. basically. And since then, it's just been slow. So MLGO, slow. I mean, it was a tiny winner. Could have easily been a loss. BNZI, that was a tiny winner. Could have easily been a loss. I got in at 190. This one, micro pullback right up here. I'll show you on the 10-second chart. It'll be easier to visualize. So pops up right here. I jump in right there. Okay, was looking for the break of 2. Technically it broke, but it was nothing exciting. So that was BNZI. And then HOLO, this is another one that's thickly traded. It's a slow mover. And I broke the ice on it. I was like, I'll give it a try. I got in right here and lost $500 on it. So I just kind of got to a point where I was like, man, it's just not happening today. I don't know why, but it's just not happening. Now, you see this pop here. That just went down to 5, now back up to 7. Could that be where some shorts start to get stopped out? They're like, whoa, this makes no sense. And it just starts going higher. It could, but my issue is that if I punch it up here, if I jump in it up here and it rolls over hard, there's a really good chance that it won't recover because it has no reason to be up 237% on the day. So, sometimes logic will keep you out of a good trade. Sometimes it'll have you kind of talking yourself into holding a trade that doesn't make sense because the chart's not working. And in my case today, I'm at the beginning of the week. We're all at the beginning of the week, and I've got $15,000 of profit, $16,000, right? $16,724.31. That's a really solid day. I don't need to push my luck. It's not worth it. Not the beginning of the week. If at the end of the week you got a little cushion, maybe you take a little risk on something like this. But as I was looking at this, I just saw risk and I didn't see enough reward. Now, it's not to say I didn't see some reward because it's a Chinese stock and these can make some pretty wild moves. And I knew that it had that potential. The blue sky on this would be over the high of this candle right here. It's not far off of that level. So, if it can hold that level. But the thing that we know about these Chinese stocks is that a lot of them, we don't worry as much about the secondary offerings, but we worry about the dump when all of a sudden the insiders dump. And when you have a stock that spikes up out of nowhere with no catalyst, and, that's where you're like, okay, what got this going? Is this a pump and dump? Is this a stock that, these Chinese WhatsApp scammers are messaging out to, 100,000 people telling them to buy, and that all of a sudden it's going to just dump all the way back down to 250? I don't know. I hope not, but we've seen that before. So, for me, I kind of have this feeling that if I'm not comfortable taking, 10,000 shares of something, that I shouldn't trade it at all. And if I took a 10,000 share position on this, now, of course, I could risk my, base my risk off, well, what's the last breakout? So 650. So as long as it holds 650, I keep holding. But unfortunately with these, they can suddenly haul down because of regular trading hours and then show a much lower resumption and you're stuck. And the reason that happens is because someone market orders out. They do a market order to sell 200,000 shares. And the second the order goes through, boom, it's instantly pinned, halted down. You have no chance to exit. Now you're stuck in the halt with full size. It's showing a lower resumption. It resumes and they do another market order. And maybe you get out on the resumption, but you're taking a big loss. And it's a little bit harder to control your risk in that way during regular trading hours because of halts, especially on riskier stocks like this. Now, DWTX, this is an example. This is a therapeutics company. This one gave us a big move last week. And I kind of wondered if this was going to give more action today, but I feel like it would be better if it waited another day so we could get a nice first daily candle to make a new high. If this makes a new high versus yesterday's high or Friday's high, it's kind of a weird position. It's not common that you see a big move, a big drop, and then you go all the way back up on the next day. Again, without any news. So this is another one that did make a decent move without news. And maybe this just speaks to the strength of the market right now. We're in a hot market. A lot of people are sitting down and they're just looking for something to trade. And so, maybe I'm overthinking it a little bit. If we keep seeing these types of moves, then maybe I'll feel a little more comfortable breaking the ice on some of them. But, at the end of the day, my job and your job as well is to manage your risk. And if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel like you can manage your risk and you skip out on a trade, you're not missing anything. You're choosing not to trade it because it didn't make sense to trade it. Now, you can obviously with new data of watching these stocks move and show strength, change the way you feel about trading some of them if you'd like in the days and weeks ahead. But it's better to, kind of err on the side of caution, I think, with these. And so today I started aggressive, I built my cushion, and then I was looking for something else, but we didn't get it. Now, why didn't YIBO pop up pre-market? Because that was one of the other problems, is that with the halt levels during regular trading hours, it's slowing down the momentum. If this had started squeezing pre-market, we probably would have gotten a bigger move and without halts. Now, it might have come all the way back down still, and I don't know, maybe there's other reasons why, but we don't know what initially sparked this move. That's why I like trading news, because we know what the spark was. It was a news headline, right? So JG, the news headline was the spark. That's what got this going. So we can understand that. And we might think, it's not that great of a headline. It doesn't make sense for it to be up this much. Okay, that's fine. We might have that opinion. But, we understand what caused it. When something is moving with no clear apparent catalyst, that's where, I get a little cautious. But, I'll still trade stocks with no news. I just prefer usually to do that pre-market when I don't have to worry about the halt risk. So anyways, locking up a green day here today. I don't want to overstay my welcome. I don't want to get FOMO. So I'm just going to shut it all down. So that's just the easiest thing to do at this point. And then come back and do it again bright and early tomorrow morning. So I hope you guys check out that 2-week trial. The link is posted in the comments and it'll be also down in the description. So you can check that out. And I'll see you guys live streaming tomorrow at 7 a.m. All right, manage your risk. A reminder as always, trading is of course risky. My results are typical, so please take it slow and practice the new strategies you're learning in a safe, simulated environment before putting real money on the line. All right, see you guys tomorrow.